Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 603, Saturday, November the 9th, 2018. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, unfortunately, as most of you know, yesterday's video, Friday video, did not get uploaded till about 5 o'clock. That's because of our good friends at Time Warner, once again. Another failed upload. So I get up in the morning, as usual. My video is showing it failed because lost connection sometime during the night. And so I had to re-upload the video before I went to work. And then, of course, I come home around 4:30, and I have to publish the video. That's why you didn't see it yesterday until 5 o'clock, roughly. Thanks, Time Warner, once again. Well done. Okay, it's time to ask this question. It's beyond time to ask this question, but I'll go ahead and ask it now, since I don't hear anyone else asking. Who will stop the crime wave? Who will stop the crime wave? Somebody's going to have to, because it just goes on and on and on. And you know, criminals, generally, if you allow them to commit crimes and you don't stop them, they continue committing more crimes. So I asked the question, when will someone stop the crime wave? Right now, we're of course watching the Democrats attempt to steal 3 or 4 more elections. That's right. We're watching this insanity going on down in Florida, which may be coming to blows as I'm speaking to you now, with those people out front of the election office there. The last time I looked at the video, it's getting pretty chippy down there. Matt Gaetz is there on the ground. A judge has ruled that that crazy woman that runs the freak show down there was supposed to turn over or allow Republican representatives to come in and observe what the hell's going on. She's defying a court order. So they're going to try tomorrow morning to hold her in contempt. This is incredible. We have a school teacher who locates 80,000 votes. She just found it in the classroom, right along with the rulers, the stapler, and the paste and all the other things. Oh, what do we have here? Hey, it's 80,000 votes. And wouldn't you know, they're all Democrat votes. That's a pretty good day, my friends. That's a pretty good day when you discover 80,000 votes. That's a pretty good day. Yes, indeed. I believe that. How many of you believe that? How many of you think there's a problem with that? It's part of the crime wave, but hey, why not? They continue to commit incredible crimes, but no one ever says anything or stops them or is successful. Even when someone calls it out, it goes nowhere. They just continue committing crimes because they continue getting away with committing crimes. Who is going to stop the crime wave? Now, it appears that Gillum is saying, well, you know what? I should have conceded. See how they found 80,000 votes and they're down in Broward County. And hey, who is it? That's the congresswoman over Broward County? None other than Debbie Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz. Oh, you just know, in a county this corrupt, who would you think would be the member of Congress in a county that corrupt? Debbie Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz. Yeah, the same one who was caught cheating Bernie's supporters and was forced to resign. Now, you would think that would be the end of her career. Wrong. Wrong. She just got reelected by those folks down in Broward County by a large majority. They love her there. She literally screwed many of them. Keep in mind, these were Democrats. Debbie Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz got caught red-handed screwing her own people. And they turned around and reelected her in overwhelming fashion. Why shouldn't she continue committing crimes? She's being rewarded for committing crimes. Will she ever be held to account for that crazy stuff that went on with Iman Awan? No one even knows what the hell happened. That just disappeared into the ether, like all the rest of the crimes. They just poof. They're gone. Bye. Whether it was Seth Rich, whether it was the Imran Awan scandal, which involved Debbie Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz, doesn't matter what it is. The IRS scandal, Fast and Furious, Benghazi, we can go on and on and on and on. And the crime wave just continues. No one seems to be able to stop the crime wave. How about the Pitbull? Trey Gowdy, he was head of those Benghazi hearings. Has he prosecuted any crimes? No. How many of you think he should be Attorney General? That's what I hear people saying. Yeah, the guy who couldn't get to the bottom of Fast and Furious, couldn't get to the bottom of Benghazi, couldn't get to the bottom of anything. Oh, so then the Democrats, they send their point man, their fixer, Mark Elias. Why not? I mean, we got Debbie Wasserman, Blabbermouth Schultz. We got the good old gang back together. Right, just the good old 2016 team. Get them all back together. Send Mark Elias down there to Florida. Why? So he can go down there and secure that Senate seat. So he can go down there and steal that seat. Why? Because he can. That's right, Mark Elias, the same guy who was paid by the Rotten Reverend to commission the dossier, which they then walked directly into the FBI. Compliments of another Clinton operative working for Perkins Coie, who walked it right into the General Counsel, James Baker. Here it is, fresh off the Clinton campaign. Here you go, the dossier. Fed it directly to General Counsel, who passed it on to Comey and McCabe. Of course, you got John McCain dropping off a copy. You've got Christopher Steele sending in a copy. You've got the State Department getting a copy through Jonathan Weiner. You have Christopher Steele getting fired from the FBI for talking to the media, so then they just use Bruce Orr so that he can walk a copy in. We don't know how many people in the media offered a copy. Everybody had a copy of the dossier. Yet, John Podesta, the chairman of the Clinton campaign, sat right there in a judiciary hearing, in a committee hearing. He was asked when he learned about the dossier. He said not until BuzzFeed published it. And his lawyer sitting right next to him, Mark Elias, the fixer. That's right, Mark Elias, the man who actually commissioned the dossier for the Hillary Clinton campaign, which John Podesta was the chairman of. Yet he never knew a thing about the dossier. Isn't that wonderful? How many of you believe that? Yeah, you would think that they're sitting there during the questioning. John, so when did you learn about the dossier? Well, I never heard about it until BuzzFeed published it. You know, at that point, shouldn't his lawyer sitting next to him, Mark Elias, the fixer, who works for the Right Reverend Clinton, DNC, commissioned the dossier. He's now Podesta's lawyer. Shouldn't he have looked over at Podesta and said, hey, you know, I'm the guy that put that together. What, we didn't mention that to you? I mean, the Right Reverend Clinton pays Elias to commission the dossier, paid well over $1 million for this opposition research. You'd think that her campaign chairman would be interested in what they were learning and what they got out of their millions of dollars, however much they paid. Especially since it's his lawyer. But does his lawyer and the man who actually was paid, Mark Elias, to commission the dossier, tell his client, who happens to be Hillary's campaign chairman, any of the opposition research dirt that they got? Does he pass any of that on to his client? Of course not. Why should he do that? Right. So, we have the election now being thrown into complete chaos down in Florida. They're trying to steal that seat. Why not? Why wouldn't they? If you have a child that continues to act up and you never really correct them, what do you think they do? They keep acting up. They don't get any better. They only get worse. That's why I say, who's going to stop the crime wave? Because they're not going to stop. I mean, if you can get away with it, why stop? So, it's not just down in Florida. we have now this crazy woman in Georgia. She now wants a recount in Georgia. They want to steal that one too. And then, of course, they got Martha McSally down there in Arizona. She was leading by 17,000 votes. Then all of a sudden, two red counties in a pretty red state, Arizona, two counties that Trump wins, suddenly count a bunch of votes. And now McSally goes from being up 17,000 to being down about 10,000. Votes coming from red counties that Trump won. But suddenly they decided to vote for this nut, Kristen Sinema, whose former occupation was that she was a member of Code Pink. So the Republicans in two red districts all of a sudden cast a tremendous amount of votes for a social justice warrior who was part of the Pink Pussy Brigade, Pink Pussy Hat Brigade, and they decided to support her over a sane person like McSally. Two counties, Trump won. Before they count the votes, McSally's up 17,000. Then they count the votes, and now she's down 10,000. In two red counties, Trump won. Conservative counties in a conservative state, which haven't elected a Democrat in the Senate since 1972. But that sounds perfectly believable to me. No, it sounds to me like they're trying to steal Arizona as well. And what's next? Well, I hear they're getting ready to try to steal Mississippi. There's a race down there that they're trying to steal. Now they're questioning whether DeSantis, maybe they have to have a recount there. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. We are under siege and we are under attack. It is a massive crime wave like nothing I've ever seen before. Let's have a little review. This crime wave became obvious in 2015 during the run-up to the 2016 election when the Rotten Reverend and the DNC cheated the Bernie Sanders supporters, their own people, their own voters. I mean, this is what if this is what they'll do to their own Democratic voters, think what they think of you. Their very own peeps. No shame whatsoever, and no really ever any apology. They went looking for who. They went looking for who leaked those emails. Not the content of the emails, not what the emails revealed. That should have been the main topic of conversation, but they flipped the script. And these Democratic voters apparently continue to go out and vote for these people, despite these are the very people that cheated them and lied to them, never came out and even really admitted their crime until they were forced to in court in a civil case, when the lawyer for the DNC finally had to say, well, you know what? We're a private club. We didn't violate any laws. We're allowed to cheat our voters out of the nomination. We actually get to pick anybody we want, and the whole process of picking a candidate in the primary is really just for those rubes who actually think their votes count. But actually, we decide everything here, and we can cheat anyone we want to get anyone we want, because it's a private club. And it's all a big show. With total arrogance. Never, ever did they really come out and apologize to the Bernie Sanders supporters. Never did they feel any shame about any of it. They don't care. This is what they do. It's a standard procedure for these people. Cheat, lie, steal, do whatever. Just get your hands on that power, whatever it takes. Besides, if you get caught, nothing's going to happen to you. So the crime wave continues. So 2015, they cheat Bernie Sanders in the primary. They succeed at that because Bernie has no testicles. Then they move on to the next act, which is they try to run a frame-up operation on the Republican nominee, Trump. Well, their efforts fail. Their efforts fail. But they sure tried. So what do they do now? Trump wins. Well, now they're in big trouble because they know that Trump won. It's just a matter of time before he discovers all the crimes that they committed in an effort to frame him. So, what do? Well, they recruit all their allies at the DNC, the Rotten Reverend Clinton, along with the FBI, the DOJ, the State Department, the IRS, and all of their accountability agencies, the United Kingdom, the Aussies, some government agent provocateurs, the entire cabinet of the former administration of the man from Kenya, Hussein Obama, along with a few globalist pedophiliacs with billions of dollars. And they tried to frame President Trump with an insurance policy to drive him out of office with impeachment, using their new tool, Uncle Bob, the executioner, which is all going well until he realized that he ain't got nothing. Now what do? Now what do they do? Well, they have a midterm coming up. What else should they do? It's what they do in every election. Cheat. They lose some Senate seats. Uh-oh. Got to get them back. Well, just cheat. Why shouldn't they? I mean, they're right in the middle of a major crime wave. Even when they screw up and get caught, nothing happens to them. So the crime wave continues. So I'm wondering, who is going to stop the crime wave? So, after getting away with cheating Bernie, framing Trump, trying to destroy him and everyone around him, to get him out of the White House before he can prosecute them for the crimes. Of course, they're continuing to lose that fight, but that doesn't stop them. They just ramp up the chaos even more. So then they go after rigging the midterms. And what's next? Well, they'll rig the elections in 2022. They'll never stop. Never. Why should they? They get away with it, even when they get caught. Oh, well, we got caught. Screw it. What can we do next? What election can we steal next? Who can we destroy next? What kind of chaos can we create next? It's turning into a real problem. I'm starting to wonder, did we really lose the midterms? Exactly how much election fraud went on in the midterms? How many illegals do you think voted in the midterms? How many dead people voted in the midterms? How many votes do you think were discovered in Granny's shoebox? In your lunch pail? In the refrigerator? Under the bed? Between the mattress? In the stockroom? How many millions and millions of votes do you think appeared magically out of thin air? Did we really lose the midterms? That's a serious question. What do you think if we had a real fair election without the cheating by the Democrats? Do you think we actually might have had a red wave? Do you think we might have actually held the House? Do you think we'd be battling over these last 2 or 3 seats in the Senate? God knows what happened in this last midterm election, but we know what happened in the primary, in the Democratic primary with Bernie. We know what happened in 2016. We know it's been happening since Trump won the election. And we know what just happened in the midterms. As far as I can see, as best I can tell, it's been nothing but cheat. From beginning to end. They never stop. Why? Because they never pay any consequences, even when they get caught. The crime wave continues, and that's why I ask, who is going to stop the crime wave? Then we have Michelle Obama. She's just written a new book. And in that book, she says, and basically she's saying that she'll never forgive Trump. She'll never forgive Trump because of that story about Barack's birth certificate. Well, bullshit. And Michelle Obama knows it's bullshit. She knows exactly where the birther movement started. And it didn't start with Trump. It started with the Rotten Reverend, Sidney Blumenthal. It was Sidney Blumenthal who started the birther movement. It was also Sidney Blumenthal during the primary campaign between Clinton and the Kenyan who gave us that photo of Obama in his imam gear. All that. Sidney Blumenthal during the Clinton-Obama primary, not Trump. And Michelle Obama knows it. just like Obama knows it. Because Ben Rhodes, who was working for Obama at the time, got pretty angry, and he's publicly stated on CNN, I believe, or MSNBC, one of the two, that the origin of the birther movement was Sidney Blumenthal. That's why Obama would not allow the rotten Reverend Clinton to have Sidney Blumenthal in her State Department. Obama didn't want him in any way, shape, or form involved in anything having to do with the Obama administration. But she did it anyway, because she can't cut loose from Sidney Blumenthal. Because that's one of her henchmen. It's one of her operatives. Can't live without him. So Trump is on his way to Paris yesterday, and he stops to give a press conference or answer some questions from the fake news. And they ask him about this. They say, what do you think about Michelle Obama in her book saying that she'll never forgive you for starting the birther movement? Trump's response was classic. He said, well, I'll never forgive him for what he did to our military. Listen closely to what else he said. Here's the exact quote. I will never forgive him for what he did to our military. I will never forgive him for what he did in many other ways, which I will talk to you about in the future. Trump has not even started, but it's coming very soon. Trump is definitely getting ready to make his move. I'm sure of that. I am sure of that because he knows that someone has got to stop the crime wave. He knows it. It's out of control. Out of control. What's going on with these unbelievably, almost ridiculous. This stuff is what's frightening about this is how in your face it is. I mean, they literally get caught completely, hands in the cookie jar, crumbs all over their face, cookies all over in their hair, everything. They're caught completely. And they have no shame. They deny everything. They flip the script. They delay. They do whatever they can, and they seem to slip off the hook. And I think Trump understands this. And I think he is going to put a stop to it. And I think when you look at what's happening here, it's the timing. Obviously, Trump, I think, wanted to wait till after the midterms. But he wasted no time after the midterms getting rid of Sessions and putting in someone who he knows believes that the rotten Reverend Clinton should have been indicted for the mishandling of classified information. He stated that there should be a special counsel set up to investigate the Clinton Foundation. Has stated that he thought the Mueller investigation was out of scope. It's pretty clear what he thinks, Mr. Whitaker. And he doesn't have to be confirmed by the Senate. He's appointed. He has 210 days. That's what he's got. I think we'll know whether or not he is going to be the guy within the next 30 days, based on what he does. Because things are pretty bad. We don't have a lot more time. This stuff's getting worse and worse. Worse and worse. Now, I suspect that they've sent plenty of lawyers. I certainly hope they have. I know Trump said that he is going to get involved in all three of these election disputes. Georgia, Florida, and Nevada. Going to send the feds there, I guess, and try to make some sense of what's going on with the fact that they keep finding thousands and thousands and thousands of Democratic votes in red counties that Trump won. Something's going on, and he knows it, and he's going to fight it. That's good. But I think he realizes he's going to have to move pretty quickly because things are getting really, really bad out of hand. And he knows that the Democrats are getting ready to take over in the Congress. And as soon as they do, it's going to be one investigation after another, one subpoena after another. It's going to be constant chaos on top of the chaos we already have. Which brings me to my next point. Why all the chaos? Why all the chaos? Since Trump won the election, every single moment of every single day, it's been nothing but round-the-clock chaos. This is not happening by accident. Someone is creating this. Someone is making this happen, this chaos. And why would that be? Well, here's what I think. I think that the deep state, all these people we're talking about, remember what we're talking about here, practically the entire Obama himself and his entire cabinet, the Rotten Reverend Clinton and people to DNC, the highest level people, the FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA, the intelligence community, not just here, but across the pond in the UK, Australia, Ukraine. Many, many, many high-level deep staters know what they did. And they know that if Trump can, he is certainly going to expose their crimes. They know it's coming. They know it's coming. So what do they have to do? Well, they have to create massive, massive chaos. So much chaos that because they know that when Trump drops the hammer on them and exposes them for their crimes, that in itself is going to create a lot of chaos. People are going to say, uh-oh, well, there's Trump. He puts in this guy Whitaker, and Whitaker drops the hammer on these people. This is Trump getting back at his political enemies. This is Trump just responding to all this chaos. So what they're trying to do is to create so much chaos that no matter what is learned when they do expose the crimes that were committed, it will just kind of be like, it'll just kind of fall off on like deaf ears, because there will be so much chaos going on everywhere and so much propaganda going back and forth, which is being fed and nurtured by the media day after day after day, that when the indictments come down, they will be able to use this to literally create probably some sort of an internal civil war, or create so much chaos that they'll be able to convince these mind-numbed lemmings who worship the deep state, and they'll just literally be able to get millions and millions and millions of people to believe that these indictments are a farce, that it's just Trump trying to hamper the Mueller investigation, that it's the Orange Hitler being a dictator, that he put this guy Whitaker in, fired Sessions to screw the whole thing up. Now they're going to lay some phony indictments on FBI people. They're going to go after the Rotten Reverend Clinton. Oh, they're going after Obama. They're going after all these people. This is a constitutional crisis. They will make this into something that's absolutely incredible. They will try to bring as many people out on the street as they can, as much chaos as they can, to create this smoke screen of chaos, so that when the real truth comes out, it will just be absorbed into the ether of chaos. The ether of chaos is where it will end up. And God knows what's waiting on the other side of that. But I have to tell you, my friends, and I think a lot of you know this, this is going in a direction that's not healthy for the country. I've never seen it this bad. I just don't know what more to say. I've never seen anything quite like this. I've never seen such in-your-face, massive crime wave, so in your face, when it's obvious what has been done, but nothing can actually seem to happen. But now we have, obviously, we have a president who knows what was done. He knows he's holding the cards. He knows what happened. He knows he's got the evidence to prove it. And he is going to attempt, I believe, to expose the criminals. And we're going to find ourselves smack dab in the middle of something very, very ugly. Now, ultimately, what happens is these things end up in the courts. And this is where Democrats usually win. This is why they can do these crimes over and over again and never have to worry about getting caught, because they control the judicial system for the most part. But things have changed, and I think that may have a lot to do with Trump's strategy. As you know, in the last 3 or 4 months, they managed to get approved a lot of judges, not just the Supreme Court, but district court judges all over the country. Because I think Trump knew that when he went to take down the perps, that all these things were going to end up ultimately in the legal system, where their friendly judges would be able to protect them, protect the perps. They thought that they had judicial protection. But now, Trump has literally appointed about 300 or 400 judges now, and he's now got the Supreme Court. Now, these types of cases probably wouldn't go to the Supreme Court. These are like criminal cases, not, civil rights cases or constitutional questions or anything like that. These are just flat out crimes. But you do have a lot of these judges in D.C., which would probably be the judges that will hear these cases. So that's why Trump is going to have to find another way to do this. I think he knows that he can't rely on the court judges in D.C. to bring justice to the perps, even though they produce all the evidence, because they own the courts too. That's why they're on a crime spree. As far as they're concerned, I mean, when you own the judges, when you own the whole system, you got the media out there pimping for you. I mean, that's what I'm saying. These people are arrogant. They believe that they are above the law. They don't believe that they're going to be held accountable. But Trump, on the other hand, is absolutely committed to doing that. So I think he has a strategy. And I think the strategy was first to get control of the courts, specifically the Supreme Court. That way he can prevent being impeached. He's got the Senate. There's no way they'll get 2/3 of Republicans to vote for impeachment. He knows that. Now, we can't stop him from having to vote in the House, but the trial in an impeachment process happens in the Senate. Happens in the Senate, and you need 2/3. They'll never get 2/3. And Uncle Bob doesn't have shit. Doesn't have shit. Trump knows that. So, it appears to me that all this chaos, which is day after day, minute after minute, hour after hour, being fed and fueled by the media, this entire scheme of chaos, challenging everything, Supreme Court justices, executive orders, bills that he wants to pass into law, environmental regulations, deregulations, every single thing that Trump does, every single thing that the Republican Congress tried to do, obstruct. And when people in the conservative movement, like myself and others, try to speak out, well, it's demonize us. We're conspiracy theorists. We're crazy people. We're a fascist. We're all this kind of stuff. Believe me, this is a coordinated campaign of chaos. A campaign of chaos designed to set the stage to protect the deep staters. They don't care if a bunch of young zombies go out and get slaughtered in the streets or thrown in jail or have their lives ruined or get themselves committed to a mental institution. They don't care. They don't care how much chaos they have to create this smokescreen so that when the real indictments come down for the real crimes, they can just throw it into the mix, into the ether of chaos, where it will be absorbed just into the ether. And the only thing that will come out of it is a lot of finger pointing. It will become a complete political issue. And they believe if it ever finds its way into the courts, that their judges will take care of things for them. They think they got it all figured out. We're about to find out how that works out. We're going to find out very shortly how all of that is going to work out. But I don't know about you guys, but I've got this feeling that the deep state knows what's coming, and this is their plan for how they're going to try to fight it and try to deal with it and get their neck off the chopping block. They're willing to throw the entire country literally into civil war. They'll turn this country inside out to protect themselves. So it's going to get ugly. As I've told many of you, buckle your seatbelts, man. There's turbulence coming up, and it's going to be big time. Because as Trump said in that little press conference today before he left for the World War I, end of the 100-year celebration of World War I, he said, "I will never forgive him," talking about Obama, "for what he did in many other ways, which I will talk to you about in the future." What's he saying? He's saying that I'm going to expose Obama's role in the frame-up and all the horrible and dirty, nasty things that he was a part of. See, the deep state knows this. They know that Trump is not the type of person that's going to let you run a frame-up operation on him and try to destroy him and everyone around him and just let it slide. They're doing the only thing they can. The scorched earth policy. Burn it all down. Burn it all down. That's what they're going to try. Will they succeed? I guess we'll have to find out. I'm thinking they won't, but I'm telling you, things are about to get very, very sporty. Very, very sporty. Because the fuckery of 2016 and the aftermath is going to be exposed. It sure is. It's going to be quite the ride.